Inscribed onto the hull of the cruiser Resilience is a phrase that pushes those who remain forward. It is a phrase which was first uttered a century ago, during the first flight of humanity into the stars. It was heard as the walls themselves fell around humanity, within the very nation they had built up, uttered by a naval officer during a meeting on the very fate of the proud state that had rebuilt itself from the first flight into the cold darkness of the void. That phrase was Tanto, Enim, Nostris. We shall retake what is ours. To say that we will return, to say that humanity will survive no matter what she has to go through. This was the phrase that guided then Admiral Claudius to leave his people and his home on the hope that one day the world he loved would rise from the ashes. Now, 15 years later, New Solaris is once more under the control of the Confederation, and Claudius has returned to his home. But all is not as it once was, and it may never be. While many rejoiced over the retaking of the homeworld, a growing minority within the new government were not pleased with the task they now had to accomplish. Destruction of techno-barbarian savages was simple. Governance was not, especially as it became more and more apparent that the world they had returned to was not the same. It had been poisoned, looted, and the population slaughtered. So many in the new government asked themselves, what truly have we gained from retaking this world? Undeterred by this, Claudius began to set out an agenda to revitalize what was once lost. Yes, the air may be toxic to life, and there may be great poverty, but as the phrase was followed 15 years ago, and 100 years before that, so shall it be followed today, and within his power he would do everything possible to bring back the nation he once remembered. In a message to the newly elected Senate, addressing the situation they now found themselves in, the now consul outlined the 3 initiatives that had to be completed quickly to ensure that the government would survive. The first was the budget. Since the fall of the Confederation, there had not been a taxable population and practically no economy, as almost everyone worked for the military and for the ideal to retake the homeworld. Now that it was back in their control, the new government found itself administrating 150 million people, which would need to be logged, taxed, and incorporated back into civilized society. And so the 22-180 budget was born, promising a future for the new Confederation. It outlined what resources that were available to the government and the areas that needed urgent spending. Most important of this was the expansion of the industry and its reorganization to cut off parts of it that did not serve any wider purpose. This budget, this piece of legislation, would hopefully start the world of New Solaris on a path to economic recovery. Next was Operation Cebus, named after the goal it set for itself, its focus to take the gas giant of Defiant and to secure the fuel reserves that were located on the planet according to the pre-war records. But most importantly, it would create a buffer zone between the fragments of the Golden Age, the Confederates, and the people of Ares. The operation was bold. Under the command of Consul Claudius, half the Confederate fleet would leave port at 0200 hours on the 19th of January and begin to head towards their objective. It would take them at most 6 hours to arrive if all went well. The following ships would take part in the operation: the flagship of the Consul's fleet and the most advanced, the CSS Resilient, as well as its escorts of the old era, the CSS Vantor and the CSS Kelio. Supporting the heavier ships is a single group of corvettes, the CSS Arbitrator and the CSS Calidus, as well as the CSS Widowmaker. The operation would involve 1,079 crew members in total, and each one of them knew that if it went wrong, that all-out war could be the result. The last initiative was even bolder. It was called Expedition Invento, led by the recently elected Praetor, Caeso Mutius. It would take the last remaining corvette group, 2 survey corvettes and a tanker. The goal of this expedition was to determine, if possible, what happened to the inner colonies, and if other humans still lived, and if they could be brought back under the wings of the Confederation. Bold in nature, but some would say stupid in tactics, it was a needed operation as the population and industrial issues of New Solaris were substantial, and the Senate put this expedition together to potentially bring more people into the fold, which could quicken the recovery of the Confederation. While the expedition would leave port at the same time as Operation Cebus, it would take a significantly longer time to reach their objective. Traveling along the Interstar Highway, they would reach New Venus in 20 days, even with the most optimistic of estimates. These initiatives, these actions, would be the first attempts to strengthen the position of the Confederates, but how well will they succeed? Time will only tell. And time will tell. Welcome to Aurora for X C# Shattered Empire. Hope you enjoyed the intro. This will now be the live gameplay part of the video, where we go over the first acting steps that the Senate have set out for us and that we must accomplish if we are to properly begin our start here as the Confederate remnant. As you saw from the intro, the first Expeditionary Fleet as well as the second Expeditionary Fleet have both of their missions, Operation Cebus and Operation Inventio. Operation Inventio is of vital importance as well as Cebus, and we will determine what occurs after we move our fleet into the positions to enact them. Another part of what the Senate did was pass the budget, which, as shown in the intro, went over many things. And I will now have to go specifically over those things and what those plans are that the Senate have laid out for us. So, to begin with, in terms of the actual legislation, in terms of the budget itself, we have to go from our industry. The requirement was to halt all maintenance production, which has occurred. The second requirement was the addition of 180 infrastructure at a total capacity of 25%. As we live on a hostile world, it does require us to build infrastructure to survive. This infrastructure is needed as otherwise we cannot actually survive on the planet itself. The next thing that we needed to do is to build construction factories, specifically 6 of them at 50% capacity for the year. The next thing would be mines, which we were set out and funded for 3 mines at 25% per year. Next, we go to the dismantlement of certain industrial capacities, industrial areas. All but one fighter factory was to be demolished in accordance. The reason for this is due to our significant worker shortages, as you can see here, at minus 5.3 million total people. So, all but one would have to be gotten rid of. The next stuff that would be getting rid of would be the ordnance factories. All of them would be destroyed as we have no missiles to speak of. The next would be dealing with construction teams as well as activating specific teams and assigning people. So that means we need to build a xenological server battalion known as Team Hope, and then Team Ardent, which would be a combat engineer battalion to help uncover ruins we may find throughout the system. In terms of our research, we will begin research on 3 different components. Those components are an active sensor at size 0.1, as well as an EM and thermal sensor at the exact same size. Each individual one would be built and prepared so that we can put it onto a satellite that will be used in the future. And this is one of the only things that we can really research considering the current situation we find ourselves in. Once all those created, we're going to put those straight into research as we need to do so immediately with scientist Jane Bartron currently working for the State Senate Department. The research will take likely around half a year, maybe 2/3 of a year to properly be completed. The last scientist would be using on fuel consumption, or in what the Senate wanted, specifically over in ground combat, would be the research of powered infantry armor. Due to the regression technology and due to the game we're playing a 20% research game, and the regression technology is explanation for that, we make very little research points. We make about 48 research points per lab without any modifiers. Now with that done, I need to go over the specifics of the expedition. So, the first expedition, as seen in the intro, is heading towards Defiance and will be securing an area around Defiance to project its power. The second expeditionary fleet is made up of tankers, made up of other vessels, and its primary purpose is going to be to head over. It's also loading up 2 battalions, specifically the 34th Confederate Regiment's 1st Infantry Battalion, or no, my bad, the 2nd Infantry Battalion, and the 34th Confederate Remnant's 1st Combat Engineer Battalion. The purpose is to hopefully land on Vulcan and establish a small, if notable, group of military outposts there that we can then use as a staging point to go into Apollo, into Diana, and into the former colonies. It will take some time for them to properly load up those forces. Besides that, there will be people assigned to the ranks of military tribunes, which you can go and find out about over on the Discord. If you're interested in getting involved in the RP, head over to there. And yeah, so let's get into it. Let's begin our first increments as the Confederate Remnant. Instantly, we detect multiple vessels of Elderbearer class. First Expeditionary Fleet has arrived at Defiance with no issues. Gonna make sure that they have their sensors turned on. They should do, and those sensors will now allow the detection of any enemy vessels that do come towards us. And if we turn on active sensors, we can have a look at that. So we now have information surrounding anything on New Caprica and anything on Defiance. So far, we have nothing. There is no detection of anything within that radius, which is good news for us. If we have a look at wrecks, you can see that there are multiple wrecks. This is known as Hope Stand. These wrecks are valuable to the Confederate Remnant, and it will be important to figure out what to do with them and to develop salvage technology, but the enemy may develop it before us and attempt to take it from us. That is concerning. That's a lot of vessels, and they are heading directly towards us. Those are of a military origin. The second expeditionary fleet has already left. I'm going to be forced, I think, to pull the first expeditionary fleet towards the enemy. I don't want to provoke a war, but I do want to let them know that we are here and we will not back down if they choose to continue. So we're going to follow them by about 1 million kilometers, in the hopes that that will discourage them. I'm also going to set in here. In our system map, I'm going to actually not do anything just yet due to the fact that they do live in the system as well. So, and the Senate has not ordered us to attack, or to even allow us to attack. Neither is the assemblies of the executive. So instead, the first expeditionary fleet will continue to follow the Ares fleet, and it seems to be heading directly towards New Solaris in particular. It seems that they are going for the wrecks. Now, this is of concern as this relates specifically to the fact that these wrecks could be of vital importance. What the Confederate Senate will do in regards to this, I do not know, but I know that the first expeditionary fleet would be pretty annoyed by this, and especially Consul Claudius, who warned that they may do this exact thing. The enemy also seems to have shields, or well, not the enemy, but the aliens seem to have shields. Not even the aliens, the Ares and Nostris seem to have shields, and these all seem to be military vessels of some nature or some regard. The question is what do we do about it? Do we engage the enemy? I'm not sure. I think if we look at how many vessels that is, 50,000, 30,000, 75,000, 100,000, 125,000, 150,000. Like, that is nearly 300,000 tons worth of vessels. We can put together, besides the second expeditionary fleet, we can put together maybe 55,000 total. Now, we do have the relic vessels, which have access to much more advanced technology, but I'm not sure if we would actually be able to do anything regarding this. We could launch a surprise attack, attempt to annihilate these forces, but in my opinion, it is not worth it to start a war over these wrecks. Yes, It is unfortunate that we may lose these wrecks, but for now, we have to hold out. And I'm sure the Senate's not too happy. I'm sure there are people who want blood at this point. The enemy fleet seems to have left. They're heading back, it seems. Interesting. Something I did forget to do, though, is we have to detach the survey vessel and have it head towards Defiance immediately to begin a geological survey. First expeditionary will follow it until it reaches out of our borders. I would say our borders are probably ranging around this point here. So as soon as it leaves that point, I'm going to send the expeditionary fleet straight back to the gas giant of Defiance. And we will see if we can detect any further enemy vessels. So they headed towards our location, but then just left. An interesting decision from the Ares technocracy. Maybe they were interested in finding out what kind of vessels or what our strength was, or our capabilities, mind you, and decided that that would be the best way to do so. They seem to be heading back to the homeworld. Maybe they have run out of fuel. It is unclear at this time. So now I'm going to do 8-hour increments as we continue along here. Communication attempts are trying to open up between us and the Ares technocracy, but it's doubtful if that will go very well for anyone. Full communication has now been established with the Ares technocracy, and we have translated, and they have identified themselves as the Ares technocracy as stated. Diplomacy rating currently at 21. That's our opinion of them. But yes, full communication has established. This would indicate the establishment of possibly an embassy on either side, delegations being brought back and forth, and the like. We continue to do our one-day increments here. We have many, many months to go through, and we should finish now managing to successfully survey the planet of Defiance. The second expeditionary fleet continues to move towards, and it's 4 days out of Vulcan right now. The fleet has arrived. Active sensors will be placed on just to make sure that we do have any vision. And for now, they're going to stay at Vulcan and begin immediate geological survey of Vulcan to ensure that we can understand exactly what kind of mineral situation we are dealing with. And we have finished the surveillance of Defiance, a massive, massive thorium stockpile. We have a total of 60 million thorium at an accessibility of 1. Very, very impressive. Now, the Amistad Rust is going to head towards the next target, which is going to be New Caprica. New Caprica, though we can't land people on it, should be within our sensor range hereabouts. And so the survey vessel will head directly towards it. Looks like we have an Altair vessel as well. Looks like it's surveying on top of that. So it looks like both sides are surveying here. The Ares technocracy as well as us are doing so. Well, let's continue one-day increments along here. No ground combat, no information detected specifically on anything. 5 days. Combat defense bonuses are going up here, as we can see, and we are waiting. We have discovered on Vulcan uranium worth accessibility of 5.7 million tons of uranium. I'm now going to order the second expeditionary fleet to immediately head towards New Venus, as well as towards Diana. So the first objective is going to be Apollo. But before we actually do that, I'm going to order an establishment of a small military outpost onto the planet of Vulcan. We are going to unload all ground forces. Once we've unloaded, we're going to head towards Apollo. Okay, ground forces have been deployed, and Vulcan is now swiftly under the control of the Confederate remnant. I'm going to create a colony there, and eventually we're going to ship people over. Industry is going okay. We also need to reduce shipyards. That is something that I did forget to do according to the budget. Think of it as taking time. In regards to Space Master modification, first off, we need to reduce this capacity down here, as that was required in the budget, as well as to delete this entire shipyard. There we go. And that should now mean that we should be in a somewhat worker surplus. Yes, we have 750,000 workers in total, and that is always good for us. Population supported, 151 million. We have a total population at the moment of 151 million. We have slowed completely, and we are getting basically no more people are able to live. The establishment, though, of a colony over onto Vulcan could be of substantial worth. With a colony cost of 4.21, it is not the greatest, but it may be required. For now, we're going to continue the second expeditionary fleet's journey through the system, and it will report back to the homeworld depending on what it finds. Take 3 days to reach Apollo, which is significant when you think about it. And a population has been detected. Population detected, Alpha Centauri aliens 237. I doubt they are actually aliens if we have a look at them. Yeah, those don't look too friendly. The Alpha Centauri aliens 237. They appear to be human, though. With an EM detection of 7,629 and an EM 10,000. If we compare that to our detections of Ares, that colony is almost as big, if not bigger than Ares in some regards. 5,000 thermal, 7,000. There could be more people living on Apollo than previously expected. This is a big concern. So these are likely the people of the previous confederation, of the previous situation that we found ourselves in. In regards to the people of this, it's unclear what we should do. They may open fire. We have no knowledge if they have any surface to orbit weapons, if they have any ships, but we have not detected any so far. For now, I think it is wise. I think that Praetor Casio would make the correct decision to, first off, head back to Vulcan, and then detach the tanker and detach the troop transports, and then make a decision on what to do from that point on. Mutius has arrived, and the tanker and troop transports will be detached. There we go. Second Expeditionary Fleet will now head, as decision by Casio and Mutius, to head to Diana, the second colony in the pre-war records, to find out if there are any people living on that world as well. Population detected. So that is the same population as this, but much smaller, with an EM signature 1,414. We estimate that the population is, yes, around, generally speaking, a very small outpost. So we've checked all of the habitable areas that could hold life in the first star, and we have confirmed that there are habitable components of life on both Apollo and Diana. Humans that still live, humans who are still around, and that is concerning in some regard. Though Diana is still there, and we could attempt to take it with the forces present, the decision will be up to Casio and Mutius, and Casio and Mutius has made the decision from the information regarded in Senate matters, in what the Senate must do, has decided that the best course of action to capture the world. Communication has not been established with the aliens, but he is in command. The Praetor is in command, and Praetor Catius Mutius has decided that Diana looks like has no ground force signature that can be detected. If it is, he will determine so. Estimates of 16,900 tons of ground forces. He brought with him 20,000 tons. those 20,000 tons currently placed on the Vulcan, we have over here Apollo's Lost, which have 10,000 total size, and then the Combat Engineer Battalion, as seen here, with some forces. This is not a confident regard in terms of a war goal, and it will be up to the Senate to decide. Casio, as say that, would like to capture these planets, or even retake them, but in many regards, there is not a lot for Casio to do here without authorization from the Senate or the people. So, instead, what will be needed to happen is for, first, the survey crafts to be detached. This will allow the surveillance of the planets which are not currently controlled by forces by other humans. So, New Venus especially, as well as the any other world if possible. So yeah, New Venus, and then the asteroids within that could potentially be another target. In terms of the main system, the Amistad Rust is continuing its survey of New Caprica. For now, the main fleet is going to have to, or the fleet that went to inspect the inner system is going to have to return directly towards Vulcan and continue to station itself there while it gets in contact with the Senate on further information regarding what to do. Looks like the Ares technocracy has they've begun surveying of Vulcan, so they know of the inner system now and are beginning to survey it as well. We'll see what the Ares technocracy decides to do about the humans placed on the two inner planets, and if they were to declare any kind of war over them. It's unclear if they knew about them before the Confederate Remnant had come, but we'll see. Okay, looks like we also have another one of their vessels over Defiance surveying it here. What scares me the most and what scares me is the size of their fleet. At least 250,000 tons. It will be massive an undertaking if a war were to be declared between the two factions and between us, the Ares, the Confederate Remnant, and the Ares technocracy. Still, decisions will have to be made here, and I'm unsure of exactly what we will be able to accomplish. For now, we're going to continue our surveillance, and the second expeditionary fleet is going to get in contact with the Senate and make decisions based on what should occur. So, with the information regarding the inner planets, the two populations we have detected, the humans there that rival even Ares in terms of population count numbers according to electromagnetic and thermal signatures, and with the size of the Ares fleet being much bigger than previously expected and encountered, Operation Cebus was a success, but will the success of the Confederate Remnants still be apparent? That is unclear at this time, and I'm unsure if we will be able to go toe-to-toe with the Ares technocracy in a war. Maybe the humans in Alpha Centauri A can bring us some benefit in regards to this, and we can occupy and take back Ares once more. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the join icon on the screen to become a member to keep videos like this alive, keep more roleplay series occurring. This has taken me many days to get out for you guys. I hope you have enjoyed. While not much happened this episode, it sets the stage for the situation we find ourselves in.